Hello, and today on our parenting program, we are going to be talking about parenting styles. Now, this is a subject that not many parents give much consideration to. Lots of people believe, they're going to be quite easygoing and they'll just, everything will just fall into place for them. But very often, what tends to happen is many parents think that they are on the same page and they've got the same views and ideas about child rearing. But what tends to happen is when your baby starts to grow and develop, their own personality, once they start sort of walking and talking and reach toddlerdom, they can have very, very different personalities. And when they start to exert their own independence, you will find yourself reacting and responding in ways which may be quite unusual or not what you had expected yourself to, or you may be caught short and think, oh my goodness, what do I do? How do I respond? And you may also have a different way of reacting to your partner. Now, all these things start to come out and show, your true colours as your child becomes this independent toddler. So I believe this is a very important part of your parenting journey, and the sooner that you can get yourself sorted out and discover what your parenting style is, you can make those adjustments and changes. And the sooner you do those, the smoother your parenting journey will be. So, what are the parenting styles? So, I've come up with a description of four for your reference, and they are the cat, the dolphin, the tiger, and the kangaroo. So, as you would expect, the cat tends to be fairly soft-hearted, soft-natured, fairly easygoing, just like a cat, wanders around and doesn't quite often notice things. And these type of parents, they will tend to find that their child may whinge more. They may be the child is more in control over the parent. So it's fine to be easygoing, it's fine to be relaxed, but when you are so relaxed that you're not noticing when your child is behaving badly or in an antisocial way and you're ignoring that behaviour, you're not doing your child a favour. You're storing up problems for a later date. So in these situations, what tends to happen is your home life can become quite chaotic as your child becomes in control of the situation. So that can end up causing conflict and confusion for your child as well. So what as a cat would be quite happy being petted for some time, but then if pushed too far or had the tail pulled or the ear poked, that cat is going to lash out and they're going to, their paw's going to strike and they're going to just attack that child or that person that's close to them. And this is exactly what this parent does. They can go so long being really calm and gentle, and then suddenly they snap. So that is a summary of the cat parent. The next parent we're going to discuss is the tiger. And as the name suggests, this parent tends to be quite fierce in their approach. They can have very high expectations, so they will expect things to be done on time. They tend to have fairly orderly, organised lives, and when they need to be in a place, they want to be there and they want to be there on time. So these types of parents tend to be quite often the high achievers who've got very high expectations of themselves, and on reflection they want the same for their children. But in doing this and exerting their own rules and processes, sometimes their expectation of their child may be a little too high, and this can cause conflict and confusion for the child. The child may lash out or refuse to do what's been asked of them, and they may also start to build up resentment towards that parent. So this is going to cause conflict at times, or you have a child who is feeling suppressed because they're too scared. They become scared for their parent. Now, underneath, this parent is warm hearted, and when they do lash out or upset their child, they tend to feel very guilty, and there's a lot of remorse that comes up for them. So they just need to lighten up a little and get down more on their child's level. And once they do that, the child will respond accordingly. But if it's always the parent in control, quite authoritarian, the child tends to sort of distance themselves or live in fear of their parent, or will be angry and, lash out. So it just depends on the personality of your child. But this type of parent tends to be more fierce than the others. So the third type of parent is the dolphin. And as the name suggests, the dolphin parent is a parent who ducks and dives, and everything tends to run fairly smoothly. They're organised, they have a flexible routine, and they know how to control their child. They have a structured and ordered environment, but there's room for play, and there's lots of fun and games along the way. So these parents are the ones that have instilled rules and structure. They're not afraid to discipline their children, and they have a good relationship with their children. And other parents may look upon them in envy and think, goodness, how do they do it? How do they get their child to behave that way? But it's not as if it's by magic. It's through hard work, it's through lots of repetition and reminders for the child. And it's really, if you put this effort in the first 5 years, I do believe that you will have a very happy, balanced child. Because these parents tend to be consistent with their children know that when their parent says no, it's a no. So there's no whinging and whining, or very little. It's very limited, because these parents have set limits. They have got a clear idea about their parenting principles, and they know what they expect of their child, and they have a way of communicating with their children which their children respect, and they respond to accordingly. So these parents tend to get the good cooperation, and it's a happy, flowing and loving relationship. So this is the one that we all need to aspire to be, as this one has the least amount of stress and has the happier family life. The final parent that we're going to discuss today is the kangaroo. Now, the kangaroo parent is, as the name suggests, they adopt a attachment parenting style. So they keep their children very close to them, and particularly in the early days, they're the type of parent that will carry their child around in a sling and have them very close to them. And when your baby's very small, this is the perfect start for a newborn baby. But as your child gets older and they start to want to move away from you, or they assert their independence, but if you are fearful, or you are overly concerned, or you're overprotective, then this is going to bring up conflict with your child, and they may start to rebel against you. But this, if it's done well and you're very sure of yourself and you know who you are as a parent, you're nurturing as your child gets older. That leash that you've got your child on will gradually extend. So it's a fine balance of getting it right. But if you're an attachment parent and you're feeling overwhelmed, or that your child is constantly wanting you and you've got no let up, no break, you may find that your child is waking very frequently and can't settle himself without you. So you've kind of made a rod for your own back. So these types of parents need to have that awareness of how to extend that closeness, but do it in a nurturing way so that you're not smothering your child, you're not crushing their independence and that need to explore and look at new areas without you always hovering over them. Because if you do that, that is a surefire way of getting a child to sort of not listen and run away, cause more misbehaviour. So, as I say, it's about getting a fine balance. So, I hope that gives you an understanding of the different types of parents, and you might want to discuss this with your partner and see where you've got differences. There will, of course, be overlaps between the different styles. That's only natural, but on the whole, you need to, as I say, aspire to be the dolphin parent. And if you need any help with this, because sometimes it's very difficult to see how you're bringing out certain traits in your child because you're so close to them. So I do offer parents a session where we really look at those together, and then I help you identify the key areas that need changing. And once you've got a grasp of that, then everything can fall into place, and parenting will become much smoother. But as I say, most of these differences tend to manifest and be expressed more once your child becomes a toddler and starts presenting their own personality. So I hope that's given you some insights and some food for thought. So I will see you again on the next module.